It's Chris from the TraderGuy.com taking a look at the CAD yen. And the only reason I'm paying attention to this candlestick setup here on the CAD yen is because, I've made my opinion in some of my other channels, this, not necessarily video, about what's happening with the yen. And I think we probably have something very similar here in the CAD yen, and I think a lot of people are paying more attention to, like the pound yen just shot. I sent a signal out to my people. It shot through 165. We took our profit there. It shot through that day, slammed back down, and now it looks like it's trying to get back up there. So you have to keep in mind this is a yen related story. This has nothing to do with what you're trading against it. For example, the Canadian dollar isn't exactly strong right now. Oil just kind of floundering around. The latest Canadian GDP report was dead flat. It was supposed to be, I want to say, like 1.8. So with that, you would expect a lot of weakness in the CAD. However, in the yen, it's a different story because of the Bank of Japan trying to keep interest rates at 50 basis points or lower. They are forced to step into the 10-year bond market in Japan and buy unlimited bonds to keep that yield down to 50 basis points. Well, in order to buy unlimited bonds, you're buying unlimited yen. So with all of that, let's take a look at the chart. You can see this is an area we sold off from quite drastically. We rallied, and again, this is the monthly chart. We fell and we rallied, only this time we broke above this barrier at about, I'm just going to call it 106, 105, that area. We've pulled back quite drastically, and now it looks like we're trying to take off to the upside. You can do a Fibonacci extension here. I'm sure it lands on something. It almost always does. Fibs are garbage, but it does tend to attract a certain amount of people, 38.2. So the idea is, the mythology behind the fib is that the 38.2, if you pull back to there and start taking off, it means there's a lot of momentum. Well, no shit. I can see it right here. So with that being the case, let's take a look at this, and I'll just go through each time zone or time level, and I'll show you what I'm seeing. Okay, so this is the weekly chart. Now, I would look at this and say, for those of you who do ICT, that would be a fair value gap, so it would make sense that we try to get there. Jury's still out on ICT with me. I've been kind of taking a look at it. I tend to be more fundamental as well, though, and it completely ignores it. So I'm still not sure, but there's enough of you out there trading it that you will recognize that. Somebody will send me a message. Well, what about the fair value gap? It doesn't have to hold. Let's just put it that way. But nonetheless, I do think that we try to get above this area here. 101 probably has us looking towards 103-ish, 103 and a half. So when I go to the daily, you can see that this, where the fair value gap was, it's, quite a bit choppier. So I don't know, read into that what you will. I think a target somewhere around 105 makes some sense. So 105, and that's what I would be watching. Keep in mind, breaking above the 101 level will run stops. We'll see whether or not it sticks. So I'm going to personally be waiting on a daily close above there to start buying. Last thing I want to do is get caught in a false breakup. I would also pull up other yen related charts. So what I would do is I would take a look at everything. Dollar yen, Kiwi yen, Aussie yen, Swiss yen, obviously Canadian yen, pound yen, so on, on and on and on, and see what they are doing. And if they're all showing yen weakness, then that gives me yet another reason to buy this. If it fails here and the yen's starting to show a little bit of strength elsewhere, this would end up being a nice selling opportunity, but not until we break down below 99. I want to see us break this little structure here. So I am watching this. I do think that this has a chance to go higher. And if oil suddenly takes off, it most certainly will. But this is kind of a sleeper play in the yen because a lot of people have been paying attention to, for example, this is a daily pound yen. This is that signal that I sent out. We went up there and just got slammed. I think they're trying to go back up there, but there's going to be a lot of noise there in pound yen. See, dollar yen, kind of the same thing. We got a lot of noise right here. If we can get above that, it's going to take the Canadian dollar with it. So watch this one. This is like a backdoor way to play yen weakness.